Welcome to Nonnashere. I'm Nonna. This video requires a short explanation. This video has been done in 3 parts over about 2 weeks in different times. The reason for that is, number one, Grandpa had hip replacement surgery. So I had to take down my crafting table, which is in the middle of the living room, and move all my crafting stuff over to the dining room table. I had to push the dining room table back far into the corner so Grandpa could get through the condo using his walker and working with the in-home physical therapist. Also, at the same time, they are working on our balcony, and we had to remove all the furniture off the balcony and put it into the dining room. So while I was working at the dining room table, I was squished into the corner and all the balcony furniture was surrounding me. So I was really in a tight position. But now, Grumpy Grandpa is going to outpatient therapy, and he's able to walk around the condo using a cane or even by himself. So I can have my craft table back in its original position. So, if you've been here before, welcome back. If this is your first time here, welcome. I certainly hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button, and I post every Tuesday and Saturday. So let's get started with DIY number 1. DIY number 1. Okay, I'm going to show you what I have and where I got it so you'll know what my plan is. I got this tin bucket at Dollar Tree, and I have some styrofoam discs. One is stuck inside. In fact, I put it in there to see if it would fit, and I had to tell the lady as I was checking out, hey, there's one in there, it's stuck in there, but I want it, so charge me for it. And then I got 2 more. I also have another piece of styrofoam here that I'm going to use to build that up, and I'll explain that in a minute. I have some tulips that I got at Walmart because Dollar Tree didn't have very many tulips, but they came in a bunch and I had to cut them off because this was the color that I wanted, so I didn't end up with very long stems. So I'll explain to you that in a minute. I have some reindeer moss, which I really like, and I know it makes a mess, but I like it. And then I have some very unusual things that I'll explain to you why I have it. First of all, I have a ruler because I wanted to make holes to hang this bucket. So what I did was, there's a seam down the back of the bucket. So I took my ruler to find the widest place on the bucket, and it ended up to be right here, and it's about 4 7/8. So I marked the bucket with black magic marker right below the rope topping. And then I took this awl, it's AWL, that I got at Walmart. It's a Dritz tool, and it's made to make holes in different things, just a starter hole. So I got it thinking that I could use it to make a hole in my tin bucket to hang my hanger, which I'm gonna use some twine. So I marked my bucket where it was at the widest place, right below the rope, and then I took the awl and a hammer to try and make the holes. Well, I soon found that when I put it down, the bucket would roll. So I went and got my large jar of great value Walmart vegetable oil. I stuck it inside here to keep it from rolling and used that to keep the bucket still while I made the holes, and it worked just fine. Of course, I had to be very careful not to puncture all the way into the vegetable oil because that would have made a real mess, but I didn't. And I ended up with 2 holes, and I punctured it from the outside in because I want to be able to thread the twine through the outside in, I think. So I have that. And then I have the roses, and then of course I have my hot glue gun, and I have some twine. And so that is my plan. The reason why I have the extra styrofoam is because the stems of the tulips are so low, or so short. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hot glue this in on top of the one that's stuck in there, because they don't wiggle around a lot. Then I'm gonna hot glue this one in to make it a little, I'm gonna cut it down and make it a little higher. Then I'm gonna hot glue this one in and start sticking the tulips in. Then I'll put the reindeer moss on top of that. Then I'll figure out how I'm gonna hang it, and I'll probably use, put a bow on top. But you know, I always have a lot more than what I need. Also, don't forget the trick I saw by other YouTubers is that to spray your reindeer moss with hairspray, and it will keep it from shedding. And I've done this one other time, and I have to tell you it works. You can use any kind of hairspray. Use the cheapest hairspray you have. I just happen to have a can of this at the bottom of my cupboard. So anyway, I'm gonna get started and show you how things work. I have all the tulips into the last piece of styrofoam, and I'm gonna hot glue it in, but unfortunately it's really wiggly. So I'm going to take some long skewers and I'm going to push them in, but I'm not really strong enough to get them all the way in, so I'm going to have to hammer them in. So I've got those in. I turn it upside down and show you that everything is in there nice and solid. So now I'm going to take my reindeer moss and my hot glue gun, and I'm going to glue all that reindeer moss in, but I have forgotten one very important detail. Have you figured out what it is? Yes, I have forgotten to put the hanger into the bucket and around into the other hole. So I'm gluing all this reindeer moss in, but I am going to have to take the reindeer moss out, and it's taking me 20 minutes to get the twine into the bucket and around and thread it in on the other side to make the hanger. And now for the finishing touches, I'm going to take my pink burlap wired ribbon from Dollar Tree and make a bow to go in the middle of the bucket. I'm just folding my ribbon over, trying to figure out how big I want the bow to be. I'll then take my zip tie and cinch it together in the middle. I have to do a few trial and errors here to see how big I want the bow to be. By the way, did you notice I now have the hanger on and all the reindeer moss back in? No, that's too big, Nona. Let's make it a little smaller. Gonna try making the loops a little bit smaller to fit on that bucket of tulips. Nope, still too big. Okay, I guess a little bit too big yet. Alright, gonna try it one more time. Alright, that one looks pretty good. Gonna cut off the ribbon. I'll dovetail the ribbon tails and hot glue it onto the bucket. Then you'll see that I take, I'm taking the zip tag and I'm going to cinch it together real tight. I just love this wired ribbon. It's so easy to use, and you can really make the tails look real pretty after you get it on. Then I'm going to take my hairspray and spray down all that reindeer moss so it doesn't shed. And we will call it a finished DIY. Let's see here. I've got to spread out the loops of the bow. Fluff, fluff, fluff. The most important part of making a bow is to fluff the loops. There we go. Fluff, fluff, fluff. Okay, there's the hairspray. Spray down the reindeer moss. Hot glue on the bow, and we'll call it. Oh, I'm dovetailing the tails of the bow. Gonna clip off the zip tie, and we're gonna call it a DIY. Stay tuned for the final reveal. DIY number 2. All right, we are ready for DIY number 2. And I am going to make a tulip wreath. What I have here is a floral foam wreath. It measures 9.8 inches. I got it at Dollar Tree. And I'm going to wrap it with this pink burlap ribbon that I also got at Dollar Tree. I don't know how much is on here, but don't worry. I have another whole roll. So I'm gonna wrap it so that the green doesn't show through. I'm going to use these pink tulips that I got at Dollar Tree, and I'm going to fill in some with these light white with pink tip tulips that I got at Walmart. I got these for 97 cents a bunch. They had, let's see if I can find a full stem here. No, because I took off the bright pink ones, but they had the bright pink, the dark ones, and the light ones, and I've used all the bright pink ones, so I'm gonna use the white ones with the pink tips on. And that's the plan. So I'm gonna get started, and I'm gonna use my glue gun to try and get the roses to stick to the burlap ribbon, and we'll just have to see how it goes. I don't know how much ribbon this is gonna take to wrap around it. We'll just wait and see. I unplugged my glue gun, so I don't know whether it's hot yet. It is. So it soon became apparent that I did not have enough roses to go all the way around. So plans changed. Plan B. I put the roses on up that far. Now I'm gonna take the ribbon and make a small bow to go at the top. And then I have this word, this laser cut word that I got at Dollar Tree. You get 3 for $1. And I used the word imagine on that one DIY that I did the other day with the purple flowers and little terracotta pot. And I got celebrate, imagine, and inspire. Those are the 3 packs that I got. You got 3 of the laser cut words in a pack. So I'm going to use the word celebrate and try and put it in the middle of the bow at the top, and that will be the end of the DIY. That'll be the finish. So I'm going to try and finish it, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. So, plan B. Finish the flowers, finally got the bow to work, put a little rose petal up here to cover the zip tie. I'm gonna put the bow up here at the top. I have the word celebrate that I'm going to glue to the top loop of the bow like that, using the Gorilla Wood Glue. And then it will look like this, hopefully. All right, so plan A went to plan B with a few adjustments, but you know, as I say, there are no mistakes in art, only opportunities for enhancement. All right, stay tuned for the final reveal. DIY number 3. Now we're ready for DIY number 3. What I have here is the welcome wreath form. I have been looking for this wreath, this welcome wreath form for weeks. I was at Dollar Tree the other day, and I had not been following my own good advice of looking all the way up and all the way down. Excuse me, but the last time I was there, this was not in the Crafter's Square aisle. It was in the same aisle as picture frames, a couple of feet before the picture frames. And it just so happened that I bent all the way down to see if there was anything interesting on the very bottom shelf. And what should I see but hanging on the very bottom shelf without any, there were no crafting supplies there, but pushed on the very bottom shelf, way to the back, were these. Now they could have been there before and I just didn't see them because I hadn't bent all the way down to look. So that's where I found these welcome wreath forms. I also have some beads that I bought at Walmart several weeks ago, and I've been dying to use them. I have some flowers that I got, some of them at Walmart, these dark ones and these ones with white with the pink tips that you've already seen me use. And I have some foliage that I got at Dollar Tree just the other day, and some leftover foliage. And this is from Dollar Tree that I just got the other day. They just got some green foliage in. I have some baby's breath that I had in my stash. And I have some floral wire. And so this was my plan. I'd been looking for this, and so what I wanted to do was I wanted to cut it at the top and put beads around the top and then a floral spray along the bottom. But when I got it home, the hanger is at the top. And in order to put the beads at the top, I'd have to cut it 2 places. So I have to go to plan B because I don't want to cut it 2 places on the top. So I'm going to put the beads on the bottom and put the floral spray on the top. That's my plan. So I'm going to get started and we will see how it goes. And I know this is going to be really hard to cut because this is a really thick wreath form. And I don't have any, I do have a heavy cutter, and I may have to go get it because this is really thick. All right, it was quite a struggle, but I finally got it apart using these very strong clippers. It's got a, in the very inside, it's got a cutter. And I finally got it. So what I'm trying to tell you here with technical difficulties is I finally got the ring cut using those huge cutters there. And once I got it almost through, I took a hammer on a piece of wood and hammered it, and it broke through the ring. So that is how I got it through. Now I'm ready to thread the beads. All the beads are on now, and I'm using hot glue to finish the last beads so the ring stays together at the bottom, and I'm ready to do the tulips at the top of the wreath. So I'm going to take some floral tape and tape the stems of the tulips and some greenery and some baby's breath and tape that together. And then I'm going to take some floral wire and wire it to the top of the wreath. And I'll do that twice, once going to the right and once going to the left of the top of the wreath so that it is balanced. And that's what I'm doing here. That's one side, and then I'll do the other side. And then we'll be ready to go on to the last part of finishing this welcome rose wreath. So I have the flowers on, and now I'm going to make a bow for the top. And unfortunately, I don't have any more of that pink burlap, but I have a scrap of this pink fabric. So I folded it over, and I'm going to fold it in half, like so. And I'm going to put a pipe cleaner in the middle and scrooge it together and squeeze it tight and twist it, and then I'm gonna put it in the middle here and attach it to the back and twist it onto the back like so. Then I'm going to flip it over. It's not going to make a real big bow, but that's okay. And I'm going to try and fluff it out a little bit. Really, it's only going to have one loop with a hidden loop underneath. And that's okay too, like that. All right. Then I will clip off the pipe cleaner in the back. It will just have this little piece sticking out there. And this little piece sticking out there, which is in a full loop, like that. There. Now I need something to cover up there, so wait a minute, I think I have something, hold on. All right, so I went to the thrift store the other day and I got this bag. I think it was potpourri. Doesn't have any odor to it right now though. Anyway, it's filled with all this kind of good stuff. So I pulled out this, which is kind of a piece of bark. And I tried that on there, and it looks like this. And then I pulled out this, which looks like a shriveled up nut or cone. But I don't think that green matches so well. And then I pulled out this, which has some pretty lines to it and is kind of organic looking. So I don't know what I'm going to use. What do you all think? Stay tuned for the final reveal of all 3 DIYs and see what I used. We're coming up with the final reveal of all 3 DIYs.